Well, hello everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday Talks with Greg. My name is Greg Jamiel, and this is my first talk back after a month off from our Balancing the Chakras course. So I am really excited to be back here on our Facebook Lives, doing our talks and getting to interact with you and answer your questions. Now, I want to go over some quick bookkeeping things first. If you are looking to reserve a session with me, you can go to gregoryjamiel.com. I have a few sessions open this week, and next week I have a lot more availability. So definitely check that out if you're interested in working with your chakras or connecting with the other side, learning how to connect with your guides and loved ones. I offer many different services like that you can find at gregoryjamiel.com. Now, today's talk I am really excited about. Tonight we're going to be talking about manifesting. I've had a lot of people write in questions about how do they set intentions? What are some tips to help your intentions be manifested into reality? And also, what can we do to help really support our journey on that manifesting path? And so I'll be going through all of those different answers tonight. And what I'd like to put out there for you is later on, about halfway through the talk here, once I finish sharing what I want to share, I'd love to talk with you about what dreams and goals you're manifesting. And so, if you have an opportunity, if you want to put a comment in here about what goals you're trying to set for yourself, what manifesting things are you trying to bring into reality for yourself? And if you have questions about that, I can offer some tips for you here. So I see people starting to comment. Good to see you there, Pat. Welcome to our talk on Tuesday night. It's been a little bit, but I'm glad to be back and good to see all of you. And thank you again for those well wishes on my travels too. I really appreciate that. It was a beautiful trip down to Arizona, and it feels great to be back home with everyone here. All right. So starting off today, I wanted to talk about the definition of manifesting. A lot of times people talk about it, they try to manifest stuff. I just want to give you a definition of what does manifestation mean. So the basic answer for this is when you manifest something, you basically bring your dreams to life. So you have a thought, you have a concept, you have an idea of something that you want to create. And using your knowledge and your creativity and your intuition and your personal will and drive, you end up bringing that goal or dream into reality. That process from thought to birthing that idea into the world is called manifesting. And we all do this. A lot of times people say, I can't manifest, I don't know how to do that. But we do it every day. You know, every time you go to work or every time you go to the grocery store, we have these responsibilities set for ourselves, and hopefully we end up meeting them most of the time. That act of meeting your requirements, meeting your responsibilities, these are all taking part in the manifesting process. So, for example, if you need to go to work, you need to know what time you have to get up, how you have to take a shower real quick, how you can eat breakfast, manage your time that way, get in your car, go to work if you drive to work, and get there on time so that you can start your day. You're manifesting yourself at work at the correct time, ready to go. And so that's just one example of a manifesting principle. Hello, everyone. It's good to see you guys writing comments in there. Hi, Heidi. Good to see you guys. Kelly, Mina. It's so nice to see all you guys on here again. All right. Now, here's a good question. A lot of people have wrote in emails for me asking when is the best time to set intentions. So there's a few answers for that. The first one is today is the right time to start manifesting your intentions and your dreams and goals. If we wait a little bit, we run into that tomorrow-itis where we say, oh, I'm going to do it tomorrow, or I'll do that next week. I'll figure out how to do that next week. And next week turns into next month, which sometimes turns into next year, and we end up never meeting our goals. So today is the best time to start manifesting. That's the general answer. But what I want to go in a little more depth with is springtime. We are here in springtime for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere. It is a time of quite literally planting seeds. We've been working in our garden the past couple of weeks, getting everything ready and amending the soil and having our seeds starting in the greenhouse, and we're now moving those seeds into the ground. So when we look at nature, when we watch the rhythms that are happening out in nature, we see that quite literal seeds are being planted now that will grow all through the summer, and we will reap that harvest in the fall. We'll be able to take those foods that we grew and eat them in the fall, and maybe even sooner for some of them. But that's a really good comparison. When we look at nature and see what nature is doing, right now, nature is planting seeds for the future. And so we can harness that energy and connect with that as well and do that for ourselves. Put our own intentions out there, put our own seeds out there that will eventually grow when we put care and attention to them into something that we really want later on in life. Now, people ask about blocks with our manifesting. A lot of times we have many goals and dreams and they get stopped somehow. We don't actually make them happen for one reason or another, and there's many different reasons. A lot of these reasons we like to call cross currents. So when we work with the chakras, we just finished up our balancing the chakras course, and I'll give you a very brief little rundown of the two different channels of energy. When we work from the root chakra to the crown chakra, there is a liberating flow of energy. We're moving from the root chakra, which is based in the earth and the very tangible world that we have, moving all the way up to the crown chakra, which is more connected with the divine. So it's things that you can't really put a label on. You can't really contain in a box. So it's a very liberating, freeing current of energy moving up. Now, the manifesting flow moves from a thought or a concept or idea that we have in our mind. And as we bring it into our brow chakra, we begin to picture how that idea will manifest. What will it look like? What will it be? We bring that idea down into our throat and we begin to express this thought or dream that we have to others, to other friends around us. We express that through the throat chakra. Now, that idea manifests a little bit more in our heart chakra as we begin to build affinity towards it. We begin to get attached to this dream that we have. We really get excited by it. Now, moving down into the solar plexus is where things really take shape. The solar plexus is the energy center for our life. It's where we put action behind our thought. So that's the place where a lot of these blocks happen, in the solar plexus. We think a lot about our dreams, we envision them, we talk about them, we picture them, but when it comes down to doing it, that's really kind of where we get a little hung up. So after that, after the solar plexus, we move into the sacral chakra, which is our creativity. We figure out how to manifest this dream. And then eventually this dream ends up in our root chakra, where it is birthed into the world. That's where the actual manifesting takes place. Now, these two different channels of energy, the liberating flow moving up and the manifesting flow moving down, they kind of go side by side. And with those two different currents, we begin to see why the word chakra in Indian and Sanskrit means wheels or spinning disc. So it's these two currents of thought, these two currents of energy that create the spinning in our chakras. Now, we all have different limiting beliefs in our life. We all have a story to our life. We have experiences that we've had as we grew up. People may have told us things that we weren't good enough or we couldn't do it, or maybe we believe those by our own experiences. Maybe we tried something in the past and it didn't work out. And so we have that belief that anything I do is really not going to work out. So those are the things that begin to form cross currents of energy. And it's those cross currents that will block our manifesting. So keep that in mind. When you're trying to manifest something, remember all the different thoughts. As soon as we put something out there that I have a goal, I have a dream, I have a vision to create something, the next thought are all the excuses and reasons why we can't do it. We're not good enough. We don't have enough time. We don't have enough money. We don't have enough energy, all of that stuff. Those are all the cross currents. Those are the things that block our manifesting flow. Now, there are different processes that you can do to manage those different cross currents. People who are good manifestors don't necessarily have less cross currents or blocks. They just know how to navigate them a little bit easier than some of us. So it really takes our creativity. When we have a goal in mind and we want to reach it, we have this hunger in our soul, we have this feeling in our heart, I want to reach this goal. Then these thoughts pop up. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough money. I can't do this or that. It's up to us to discern the truth in those different blocks, those little speed bumps, and most importantly, find a creative way around them to be able to achieve our end goal. Now, again, if you guys, good to see you guys, Jim, on there. I see, yeah, making the moon water over here, Jim. So again, if you guys have any dreams or goals that you want to be talking about, write them in the comments and I'll help you figure out some different pathways to making them manifest into reality in just a few moments. Now, that's one way to avoid those cross currents, is to really become creative and look at different solutions to how to navigate around them. This is the coolest part though. When we connect with our wiser self, when we connect with a future self. So think about this. I have a goal, and the goal is going to take probably about 6 months to achieve. When I look at that goal, I have to look at myself of who I will be 6 months down the road. Who will be that person who has already learned these lessons as I'm moving forward in my life over the next 6 months? And you may say, how much can you really learn in the next 6 months? When you look back at your life, right? When I look back at how I was in high school, or maybe how I was after college, or how I was in the early years of being on my own, I had all of these fears and hesitations in my life. And when I look back at them now, I always go, oh, what were you thinking about that? You missed out on this opportunity. You should have just gone for it. So that's what I want to throw out there. Be brave and courageous. If we want to have a new thing come into our life, we have to think a way that we've never thought before. We have to do things the way we've never done things before. We have to be a certain way that we may never have been before. And through this process of putting our goal and dream 6 months out or a little bit down the road there, we begin to encourage an evolution within ourselves as well, which is quite beautiful and really powerful. Here's something else too. I just have my notes over here too. So I said that stuff. All right. The rubber band example. Now, a lot of people talk about this rubber band example. I'm going to put this here for our manifesting current to talk about our different goals and dreams and how we should set our goals and dreams. Now, this will represent where you are today, right? And this represents where your goal or dream is. If we bring our goal or dream very close to where we are, like it's just a little bit away, see how there's no slack on that rubber band? There's no tension there. Nothing can be pulled. There's a lack of energy. If I set my goal way over here, I can feel that pull. There's like potential energy there. And what happens is when I plant my stake in the ground at where I want my goal to be, then I begin to think creatively around all of those different cross currents that come up. I start to get a little bit closer to my goal. And then I start doing things that really reinforce my goal. And I put a budget in place. I talk to friends. I talk to professionals. And then boom, I get pulled a little bit closer to my goal. Eventually, we begin to really get pulled because of the tension in our dream. So think about that. The further away you set your goal, the more of a pull you have to bring your life to where that being, that goal, that dream is at the end. So think big. If you think a little bit too small or a little bit short-sighted or a little bit too close to home, there's really not a lot of energy that's needed to meet that goal, and it tends to just kind of fall off to the side. So it's just something to think about. It's a really fun thing to play with when you have a dream and you have a goal and you send that stake way out there and say, like for me, I wanted to have a show on Oprah's network. Okay, that's a pretty big goal. Now, I didn't make it at this point, but I got very close to it and I had an amazing journey along the way. So that to me was good enough. I learned a ton of lessons and I'm using that show that I created, Explore and Exhale, in a totally new way than I ever envisioned it to be, which was on Oprah's channel, which didn't work out at that time. But that's all good. Let's see there. Jesse says, oh, it has cross currents. Yes, Jesse. So that's the name of that. When things come up and block our manifesting process, they're called cross currents. And so those are basically the speed bumps that I say. Whenever something comes up, and I mentioned this a few moments ago, but if I set a dream to say, I'm going to go back to college to become a chef, automatically all of these thoughts pop into my mind. But you've never cooked before. Why would you want to be a chef? You don't have enough time to go back to school. You don't have enough money to go back to school. So that's a really good sign. When you set your goal or dream, those first few thoughts that pop up are predominantly all cross-current thoughts. They're all thoughts that want to say, hey, just stay where you are. Don't grow big. Don't try this new thing. Just stay exactly where you are. So keep that in mind when you're examining your cross currents. They're usually the first ones that come up. Cheryl says, I'd like to be able to travel the world. Cheryl, that is an awesome dream. I have that same dream too. And so, what I would ask you at this point is what action steps are you taking to make this dream a reality? And this is a really good one, Cheryl, to put up here for you. What I want to do in this next part here is go over some different steps that will help you manifest your dreams into reality. And the first step is to get extremely clear on your goals. Now, using your example, Cheryl, of I'd like to be able to travel the world, that is an amazing kick ass goal. What I want to say to you is let's hone this in and say, I would like to be able to travel to Europe by this winter. So, giving yourself a specific destination and a specific time will allow you to put some parameters around that where you can then start to take action steps and make those parameters come true. So, honing in on the specifics of your goal and dream is priority number one when we're doing this manifesting process. I want you to get very specific on the details. And by details, I mean the time, the amount of money you'll need, the logistics of where you're going, when you want to go, for how long you want to go on this trip. These are all perfect examples of how to give that dream, which may be very vast and ethereal and very airy, give it a little bit of structure. And it's already starting to form itself once you put those defining characteristics on it. So that's a really great one, Cheryl. Thank you for bringing that up. Now, step two in this manifesting process, these are all tips to go over. Step two is to ask the universe. Put your intention out there. A lot of times when we set goals, we maybe write it in a journal or we just keep it in our head. We don't really share it for many reasons. Sometimes we don't want people to think that we have not met our goals, or sometimes we don't even believe that we can achieve and meet our goals and dreams. So it's important not necessarily to blabber it all around, but to share it with people who are close to you. Let them know, hey, this is what I want to bring into my life. When you're setting your intentions or you're doing your prayers or your ceremonies or whatever you're doing, it's like, maybe put in a good thought for me and my dream too. So that's just one thing that you can do. And you can also put that out yourself. So reach out to the universe, reach out to that which is greater than you, and put that desire out into the universe. Say, hey, like my friend Cheryl over here, I want to travel the world and see all the different things that are out there. Put that energy out into space, and you'll notice that that energy will eventually start to manifest its own thing. You may have a friend call you and say, hey, I'm going on a trip and I wanted to know if you wanted to join me. So that's tip number two there. Number three, clarify your intentions every day. Now, this is something that it takes consistent practice. So when we have a goal, when we have a dream or a vision, oftentimes we may say, like Cheryl says, I want to travel the world, right? And then maybe she hones in on the details. I want to travel, I want to begin my travels in Europe this winter. So now we have a starting point. But then if we just let that go, if we let that vision or dream just kind of go and not really feed it or tend to it or care for it, maybe summertime rolls around and then all of a sudden it's fall. And then we look and go, whoa, I'm not going to be able to make this goal of going to Europe by December because it's already October and I haven't saved any money or booked my flight or any of that stuff. So it's really helpful and very important to revisit the goal that you have every day. And here's the kicker. When you have a goal or a dream, revisiting that goal or dream every day allows you to make small changes and be adaptable to your own mind. You may start off and say, I'd like to travel the world, but when you start to do research, you may say, I really want to explore South America. So that big world thing may turn into a South American trip to start off with, and then you begin to travel other places. But it allows you, when you look at it every day, to check in not only with your intention, but to check in with what you're doing, what your action steps are to manifest this goal or dream into your reality. So every day, that's important. Step number 4, trust the process. So there's a lot of things in this world that we just don't understand, that we can't really wrap our head around. And sometimes when we're in the manifesting process, we may feel that we've hit a plateau. Oh, my dog's walking around on the bed over there. We may feel that we hit a plateau or that our dream is having a stall, right? Maybe that dream or vision is kind of stalling out right there. And I want you to remember this. Trust in your dreams. Trust in your goals. and trust that the universe has a way of making things work out for you. It may not be the way that you see it specifically, but things are unfolding and moving at their own time. And when you begin to step back a little bit, you can look at that bigger picture of the world and the way that your goal or dream fits in it and really start to go, huh, this is kind of amazing. I didn't really think about this, but what a beautiful gift. So, trust the process is step number 4. I've been talking a lot today, so I'm a little dry. So, I'm going to be drinking my moon water over here. Okay, step number 5. Hey, Kelly. See Kelly hopping on over there. Step number 5 is receive and acknowledge what you get. Another thing when we work with manifesting is we may have a goal, like my friend Cheryl said over there, I want to travel the world. And so we put that goal out there, and maybe throughout the year, we start traveling to little places. Like I just did a short trip to Arizona just for a couple of days. Now, I could negate that and say, hey, that's not meeting my goal of traveling the world. But the better thing to do is to look at that and what a gift that was. For just a couple of days, I got to go someplace where I used to live and see something really beautiful in the land and experience something beautiful with my family. So, being grateful for the things that do come into our life kind of solidifies and softens our heart up a little bit to be more open to the goals and dreams, those bigger ones that we put out there that we're trying to manifest. So keep your eyes open for everything in your life that is really going well and it's supporting your own vision for that future dream and goal that you have. Be grateful for that and express that gratitude in any way that you feel comfortable doing it. All right, here's a good one. Step number 6, stay positive and excited about your goals. So sometimes we set these really big goals and dreams, and we may become overwhelmed by those goals and dreams. So, what I'm trying to remind you here in this step is to really stay excited about it. Keep looking at that goal that you have and say, you know what? When I get to that point, when I evolve to that point as a person, and when I reach that, and I'm doing this thing that I have set in my mind, this vision that I have, how amazing that's going to be. So keep that connection to your excitement when you're setting goals and dreams, because that really does help. Remember that elastic band I was showing you? When you stay excited, it's like, here's my goal way over here. Here's where I am. When I'm excited, that process is really easy, and I kind of go with the flow of that rubber band. I actually get pulled towards my goal and dream, which is even better and more beautiful than struggling along the way. So keep your head up, keep excited about your vision, and keep working towards it every single day. Step number 7 is clear your blocks and cross currents. Now, we talked a little bit about these earlier on in this talk, and it's really important that when these thoughts come up that you're not going to be able to do it, or you become overwhelmed, or maybe you don't know a certain thing or have enough money for a certain thing, get creative. We need to use this beautiful, wonderful creative mind of ours to find solutions around these different blocks. There is always something that you can do in every situation, and never forget that. And that statement is true for everything. There is always something that you can do. So keep your eyes open, have that eagle perspective. We talk about that a lot, taking that different look at your life and the way things are, and try to see the different things that you can navigate through to find a good solution for your roadblock, or what is it here? Your cross current or your blocks. So keep your mind open. Now, these last 3 are different tips just to help you out here. The first one is clean your house. So when you have a clean room, when things are decluttered and things are put away and things are open, you really have a lot more energy to be able to put towards your goals and dreams. If I walk into my bedroom, if I'm working on a project, and I say, oh God, there's my laundry and there's my luggage and oh, this and that, there's a bag of trash over there, it's like it drains some of my energy. So clean and declutter your space to help bring more energy into achieving and meeting your goals. The next one is about vision boards. Vision boards are amazingly helpful to put on paper and see visually these different goals and dreams that you may have in your mind. And you can simply Google different vision boards to get some inspiration on how to make them. But basically, you take a bunch of pictures and put them around there of the life or the goal or whatever you're trying to achieve. Put that on that board so every time you walk by it, you see it and it triggers that memory. It's almost like I said, speaking it out to the universe. When you create a vision board, you're seeing that every single day as it enters your mind. It kind of reminds you, okay, that's where I'm going. that's the life I want. That's the dream that I have. So vision boards are amazing. And the last tip I have for tonight is take inspired action towards your goal every day. The reality is that the only way we are going to reach our goals is by us doing the work it takes to reach them. So every day, try to do something a little bit towards your goal so that in the long run, all those little steps will add up and eventually you'll be there in the dream, in the goal that you have. And it's worth the work. You know, it's like when you put that work in, you're able to reap those rewards and it feels really, really good because you've done the work along the way. So let's see here. Carol Ann has a question. Hi, Greg. My goal is to be a guide imagery facilitator, and I have worked out the details, and every practice session I do takes me at least 3 minutes to settle in. There we go. And no matter if I meditate before or and set an intention about the anxiety of Zoom and speaking in front of people makes me crazy. Oh my God. Tell me about that, Carol Ann. I even took public speaking classes, have helped, but the first 3 minutes are stressful. What can I do to get this to help with this goal? So, Carolyn, that's a great question. And I'll be honest with you, I've been working in TV for 10 years. 10 years ago, a decade ago, I was in TV for 10 years. And it's challenging to be in front of the camera every single time. Some of the tips that I would encourage you to do before speaking in front of the camera is to really become settled in your space about 10 to 15 minutes before you're about to go on to Zoom. Have your cup of water nearby, have your notes nearby, have everything that you need right in arm's length so you don't have to be fumbling for that and looking for that. And one of the main things, and the reason I'm saying this, Caroline, is this is the same thing that I do for this talk. So typically I'm working all day on Tuesdays, and about 4:30 I jump in the shower and clean up for this talk. But then it's like 4:45, 4:50, and I'm typing in the content on the top of the page, and then I hit go live at 4:58, and I'm like, catching my breath, and I'm a little panicked, and I'm like, oh, my water's over there, or my notes are over here. So what I have found for me, the thing that is the most helpful is to take a few moments to sit outside and calm down before you go online, and then set your office up in a way that when you're sitting at your desk in front of your Zoom camera or whatever, you have everything you need right there, and be there 15 minutes before you have to go on. And that way you can just take a breath, you can refresh your notes, and enter that communication through Zoom in a very calm and grounded way, rather than kind of rushing in there at the last minute and getting all set up and kind of freaking out. And I can talk to you more about that too. I have some other tips that can help about talking on camera and settling in beforehand. I know you said it takes you about 3 minutes to settle in. For me too, it takes a couple of minutes, but I usually would say 15 minutes before. Go to your desk and kind of sit there and just go over things. So I hope that helps. So everyone else, Jamie, good to see you on there. Thank you. We are right about our time. Today was a real chatty one. I was a real chatty Cathy today. So if you guys have questions, email in your questions to me and I will answer them for you. And as usual, if you'd like to join our private healing community, a healing community with Greg Jamiel, join that group. I'm going to be doing more ceremonies in there. We haven't done one since the beginning of the year because I've been doing other courses and workshops, and I have more coming up. But I want to start doing some more ceremonies in that group. So we'll be doing a summer fire ceremony very soon, and I'll put more about that in that group and on this page as well. Judy, good to see you guys. And yeah, if you have any other questions, we have a lot of exciting topics coming up. People have been writing in different things they want to learn about. So pretty soon, I think next week we'll be talking about how to work with your inner child, how to heal that inner child and be able to build a nice communication and connection with that inner child. So once again, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night. You can go to gregoryjamiel.com to reserve a session with me, and I look forward to seeing you very soon. Sweet dreams. I'll talk to you later. Bye.